Good day. I am Susan Inglis, and I am so pleased to welcome you to this presentation on the subject of what is sustainable furniture anyway, and it is a CEU. I am recording this beginning of the presentation after the live event to make up for some technical difficulties that we had. I am going to make sure that you have thorough information, even though we did not record it effectively from the beginning. We are holding this webinar in partnership with the Interior Design Society because we are very pleased to be partnering with IDS for one of their Designer of the Year awards, as we have done for several years, the Sustainable Design Award, which includes criteria such as having in the design project products that come from manufacturers that are members of Sustainable Furnishings Council. And another criterion is that the designer doing the project must take the pledge to ask what's it made of and do their best to explore their supply chain, including using a policy to make sure the wood in the project has not inadvertently contributed to deforestation. Now, these criteria we know from years past have proved daunting for some people. So we want this information in today's webinar to reassure you that you can enter projects that you have already done. This is not as difficult as it might seem. Sustainability, we must admit, is complex, but starting wherever you are is not complex. So our goal today is to make sure that you know you can enter a project in the sustainable design category at the IDS Designer of the Year Awards, which is a grand event. So visit the Interior Design Society website to learn more about the awards and that organization. And I will tell you now a little bit more about Sustainable Furnishings Council. We are now in our 15th year. And we are a membership organization. Our members are companies that are involved in the residential furnishings industry in various ways, including interior design firms and stores and manufacturers of all kinds of furnishings products and suppliers of materials that are used in making furnishings products, and important large environmental organizations like World Wildlife Fund and Rainforest Alliance are part of our membership too. When we got started, our first job was to determine what are best practices for sustainability, and then to set standards for exemplary implementation of those practices in our own industry, and then to be doing a lot of education and building markets. We are an educational organization more than anything else, and we have a lot of good education on offer, like what you'll get a glimpse of in this hour, and like our Green Leaders course, which is a 6-hour, 6 CEU course that we offer to IDS members at a discount. It covers what is this sustainability stuff and what does it have to do with us in residential furnishings. And it covers lots of questions to ask and answers to look for when you're specifying product, when you're going through projects. And it also includes a powerful sales module to help you put together everything that you learn in the course and build your business and do your job better. It is available online anytime, and eventually, post-COVID, we'll be doing live classes again. As you probably realize, sustainability is an umbrella term, and there are many different issues that fall under this wide umbrella of sustainability. Many of them are interconnected, and all of them are of concern for us. As you can see, there's a lot here. It can be daunting. And what I want to assure you of again is that there are simple steps you can take in all these areas. The furnishings industry relates directly to the range of sustainability issues. We are a global manufacturing industry, so we burn a lot of fossil fuel to generate the electricity to run our factories and to transport materials and goods all around the globe. And burning fossil fuels is the main contributor to those greenhouse gas emissions that are warming the planet. The second contributor is deforestation, where we also have a large responsibility because we use so much wood and we add so much value to the wood resource. So those greenhouse gas emissions, especially CO2 emissions, are what is polluting our outdoor atmosphere more than anything else. And the fact is that we also have in this industry a large responsibility for what pollutes our indoor environments, including those hazardous chemicals that are used commonly in our products, VOCs like formaldehyde, flame retardant chemicals, those PFAS chemicals that are used in stain treatments, antimicrobials, and PVC. These all persist in the environment and all are directly linked to harm to human health as well as other life on the planet. We are responsible for lots of toxic waste, some of those chemicals, for instance, that make it their way into our waste streams, air pollution, water pollution, and solid waste pollution. We also have a large responsibility for the health and well-being of people. Many are surprised and shocked to know that cotton is still cultivated with forced labor in many countries. So this is a problem that we can take some responsibility for and make some differences in. We at Sustainable Furnishings Council do tend to worry about all of these things, and we do what we can to address these issues with initiatives, including our What's It Made Of initiative, which is we're working with these partners and which includes a pledge to simply ask, what's it made of, and a tool that you can use, a vendor questionnaire that you can use to have powerful conversations with your vendors about whether any of the products you are getting from them include any of the hazardous handful of chemicals frequently used in our industry, and whether there might be alternatives that your vendors could offer you. So that's what the What's It Made Of initiative is. But on the subject of what things are made of, we also have an initiative that we are working with our friends at the National Wildlife Federation that is called the Wood Furniture Scorecard, in which we are assessing retailers, furniture retailers, on whether they have a policy for avoiding deforestation, avoiding contributing to deforestation, and whether it seems to be a robust policy and being implemented well. And we release this scorecard in the fall of every year. So in October, we will be releasing the scorecard. We begin work on it early this year, in the next few weeks, but we will be releasing it in October. And it's useful to designers for helping to choose companies with which to do business. These things are important because of the trouble our planet is in. What we are looking at here is a video of how the planet has warmed since early in the Industrial Revolution. You're looking at climate anomalies, weather that was warmer than usual or colder than usual. And as you can see, warmer than usual is the trend. In fact, life as we know it, continuing, depends upon our reversing this trend. So it is very important that we all make decisions to do what we can to reverse this climate crisis we find ourselves in. It is, fortunately, possible to do exactly that. And the most powerful way we can do that is by reducing CO2 emissions. The planet is warming because of the proliferation of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. And there are various results of our agro-industrial society, such as the proliferation of greenhouse gases, that impact climate. Interestingly, CO2 emissions, carbon dioxide emissions, are equal to everything else that people have anything to do with. So if we would only reduce CO2 emissions, we would be really making a huge difference. It's like the smoking gun. We see exactly where we need to put our attention. Given that without these CO2 emissions, we would pretty much be in an equilibrium. So we have an easy place to address our attention. And as I said, those CO2 emissions come from burning fossil fuels, which we do for generating electricity and for transporting goods. So we can reduce CO2 emissions in those arenas with simple decisions about how we power our factories and how far we have to transport materials and goods. But deforestation is the second leading, the second cause of CO2 emissions. And since we are using a lot of wood and adding the highest value to wood, we also have a huge responsibility for halting deforestation, which we will be giving you ways to help to do. So that is our main contribution to outdoor air pollution. But indoor air quality and other toxins in the home are also our business. Asthma is aggravated by poor indoor air quality, and indoor air quality is most often in our homes compromised by the presence of volatile organic compounds, which are in the finishes on our furniture and in the adhesives that we use to glue our furniture together. And so we have a large responsibility for indoor air quality and for keeping harmful chemicals that enter our bodies otherwise, such as by licking a clean floor, keeping those out of our clients' systems. Why do this? Well, for the health of our society, but also because your clients are worried about the climate crisis and about harmful chemicals in their homes, and they are looking to you to have some knowledge on this front. We at Sustainable Furnishings Council have been doing consumer research for about 10 years. And one of the things that we always ask consumers is how worried they are about each of a range of environmental issues. And it's interesting to note that when we started doing this research, about half of them were interested in or concerned about any issue we would ask them about. Now it is approximately all of them that are very concerned. So your customers are concerned, and they're concerned particularly about hazardous indoor air quality and about the climate crisis. You can see here that most people, by a long shot, identify themselves as directly affected or thinking everybody should care whether they're affected or not. In fact, people are taking action out of their concern. And many of the actions they're taking have to do with their habits at home and with their habits when they go shopping. So this again gives you a particular position on the front lines of the decisions they are making and of the choices they are making, including in buying products and services that claim to be green. And many of these people have bought eco-friendly products, but you'll see that they have not bought many eco-friendly home furnishings products. Mostly they're buying things that are obvious and easy for them to find, like non-toxic cleaning supplies, which are on the same aisle with any other cleaning supplies when they go shopping for those things. But they're not buying a lot in home furnishings. And we have asked them, well, why not? You're buying other eco-friendly products. Why not these? And by far, it is because they have no idea that such a thing exists. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us with your responsibility to tell them about these products. So to tell them about the eco attributes that are in the products you're showing them and talking to them about. And it is going to serve you to do so, because our research also shows that 90% of furnishings consumers would choose eco-friendly products when they like the style and when it is within their price range. So with that, it is clear that you should be showing them eco-friendly products and pointing out these eco attributes in your conversations with them. So that is what we're going to be talking about for the rest of this hour, starting with a conversation about wood, so that you will understand what wood to specify for your clients. As I said, we use a lot of wood and we add a lot of value to the wood resource. So it is important for you to know what wood is good. And what wood is good is wood that has not contributed to deforestation. Fortunately, deforestation, the rate of deforestation has slowed in recent decades. Unfortunately, there are fewer and fewer forests, especially natural forest systems. All our world's 7 major natural forest systems are in trouble. And so it is very important that we do not inadvertently contribute to deforestation. How do we avoid doing that? The first thing I always recommend is that you ask whether the wood used in the product is certified by Forest Stewardship Council, which is the best certification for wood, or by any other certification. It's important to ask for Forest Stewardship Council certified wood, because that certification is the gold standard of certifications. It covers the triple bottom line of sustainability. It is always audited by a third party. It covers a large number of criteria, is globally available, and all the auditors who certify Forest Stewardship Council certified products or forest systems, all of them are themselves audited regularly. These things make it a very strong certification. It, however, is not available for most of the wood products you're going to encounter in our industry or elsewhere. So it is important that you learn about any certification that is out there. Ask for any certification. All of them do move towards Forest Stewardship Council certification, though none of them is quite as strong as this one. About 10%, a little over 10% of the world's forests are certified. So you're not going to find it for everything that you are specifying. What do you do in the meantime? Look for wood that comes from North America. Our forests are in pretty good shape. And we actually have a lot of manufacturing in this country of wood furniture. So you can find wood furniture made in North America of North American wood, and that is always a good choice. Another good choice is plantation grown woods, and these might be tropical hardwoods grown for the wood, like teak. So when you find a teak product or is specifying a teak product, make sure it is plantation grown teak. There's hardly any wild harvested teak anymore, and it needs to stay in the forest. So make sure it's plantation grown teak, for instance. There are also plantation grown woods that are a byproduct of plantations that serve another purpose. Mango is a very common fruit around the world, and the mango plantations are for growing the fruit, but when the trees reach the end of their productive life, using the wood is good for the furniture industry. Same with rubber wood, which is cultivated to produce latex that we use in foams and we use in paint and many, many other products. But when the tree goes fallow, use the wood, and that adds value to the plantations too. There are also, of course, many recycled and reclaimed materials we can use in this industry, and reclaiming wood is a very viable alternative, not only for the distinctive rustic look that reclaimed wood has, but more and more we are finding dimensional lumber being reclaimed, and that is a very good strategy for saving the forests of the world. We also, in our industry, use a lot of leather, and leather is also related directly to saving the forests of the world, or to a threat to the forests of the world. Leather is a byproduct. No forest is ever raised for raising cattle for leather. No. Cattle are raised for meat production, and using the leather is using a byproduct of meat production. It is a problem globally that we are losing forests to cattle production. We all need to eat less meat. We all need to ensure that less forest is cleared for cattle production. But even when all of us take a pledge to consume 40% less beef, there will be more than enough leather for our industry and every other purpose. These days, most hides are actually burned. So being vegan and using leather is a good idea. Now, there are some things to take note of about leather. It does use a lot of chemicals in its tanning, and in most cases, the first and most toxic part of that process is done in the country where the cow lived. Most cattle are raised in South America, and so most hides are exported from South America in this state called wet blue, where the harmful chemicals like chromium salts have been applied to do the first part of the tanning. Now, those, in some cases, doing that process in a country that has not very strong environmental protection laws results in polluting the waters of that country. And the chemicals are extremely toxic. All life downstream dies when it encounters chromium salts, for instance. So that is something to be concerned about. as I said, the hides are exported in wet blue. What happens next? They are transported a large distance. They might be transported from Brazil or Bolivia to Italy, where the tanning process continues, and the factories are generally very responsible. But that's a long transportation footprint. The nice soft leather there might, of course, be made into a piece of furniture that is used there, but more often, in the case of furniture in our market, it is exported to an Asian country to be made into a leather sofa or something, and then from there exported to North America, arriving on the West Coast. And when it is for somebody in North Carolina, where Maddie and I are, it goes clear across the country. So as you can hear, that leather sofa you are specifying might have made a trip around the world before you have made a trip around the world. It will last a long time. Leather is durable, and the impact of any product has to be spread out over the life of the product. So if the leather sofa is going to last for generations, great, it might be worth it. But these are things you need to know about and need to consider. And many people, when they learn about leather, get really interested in using textiles instead for upholstery, and that can be a really great idea. Our favorite natural material, natural textile material, is cotton. And cotton, it happens, is very environmentally intensive to cultivate and to produce. Cultivating cotton uses more herbicides and more pesticides than any other single product. And that is an impact. It's also thirsty. It uses a whole lot of water, and that is a bigger and bigger deal in more and more parts of our world. So when you are specifying cotton upholstery, I urge you to specify organic cotton if at all possible. Or cotton at least that is from North America, where we generally cultivate our cotton with systems that allow us to use fewer harmful chemicals, or recycled cotton, which is available in a lot of interesting upholstery products. So look for better cotton when you're specifying cotton, but also consider natural fibers that inherently use less water and use fewer chemicals in their cultivation and in processing. There are recycled and recyclable textiles in natural fibers and in synthetic fibers. And these are good options for us in upholstery. Recycled polyester fabrics are widely available and very popular as upholstery fabrics. So I urge you to look for those. Now, on finishes, which we put on all our textiles and on all our case goods, these finishes, we want to have fewer volatile organic compounds. The easiest way to specify fewer volatile organic compounds is to specify a water-based finish. Water-based finishes inherently have fewer volatile organic compounds. There are also certifications you can look for that will assure you that the volatile organic compounds have completely off-gassed before the product reaches the consumer, including GreenGuard, for instance. GreenGuard is available at different levels and does assure you of fewer volatile organic compounds to compromise the health of your clients and of the workers where the product was made. We use an awful lot of cushioning in our industry, and that is to say we use a lot of this petroleum product, polyurethane foam. We actually use a third of all the polyurethane foam that is used in all the world. And polyurethane foam is made of a petroleum product. So it is that is using a finite resource, and using any petroleum product results in a lot of water pollution and air pollution as the petroleum is processed into whatever it's being made into, in this case, polyurethane foam. Now, there are good alternatives for us here in the furnishings industry. And first, I want to mention latex. Natural rubber it comes from those rubber trees that I mentioned we have so many plantations for. Natural rubber is low impact to extract and to extract from the trees that are tapped in the way that you see right here. And it is a low impact actually to produce it into a foam. And that though that foam does have a smell, it is not a toxic volatile organic compound. And the product, should it be discarded, is fully compostable without any adverse impacts to the environment. So latex is a very good choice for its luxurious feel, for its durability. It does last a long time, and for its not involving the petroleum products that we are actually using in most of the foam in our industry. Latex is, of course, mostly used for mattresses, though a firmer latex for upholstery is readily available too. We think of it as a luxury choice. It's also a good for the environment choice. Most commonly used in our industry now is what's called a biohybrid. And a biohybrid mixes polyols that come from petroleum with polyols that come from a plant, and soy polyols are most commonly used in the foam that goes into our upholstered furniture. And that flexible foam that's in your sofa might be 20 or 30% soy, and it's going to be 70 or 80% petroleum-based polyols, but we are thereby reducing the use of the petroleum-based product. And that's good news. There are, of course, other cushioning materials, and many of them are bio-based. So for your outer cushions, you can use down, which we also think of as a luxury material, but it is there are eco advantages to down, especially when the ducks are treated properly. And there is kapok, which is a plant material that is like a super fluffy cotton. So those are good alternatives to petroleum-based materials for outer cushions. Both of those are expensive. So I also want to mention that your outer cushions made of polyester fiberfill can be made from recycled soda bottles. And that is an inexpensive, usually made in the US, option for you. So do consider that. Now with cushioning, very good news is that our Consumer Product Safety Commission has recently adopted the same regulation that we have in California for being able to avoid putting harmful chemicals in the foam to try to prevent fires. Flame retardant chemicals were for a long time mandated in foam. You can now pass the smolder test so your furniture be perfectly fire safe with no added flame retardant chemicals in the foam or even in the fabric. And it's very good news that this is a national standard now. There are still flame retardants used in foam and in fabric. So you do want to ask, and you do want to specify no flame retardant chemicals. Why? Because it's bad for our health and it doesn't do that much for reducing flammability. Next, I want to be sure that you all understand this concept of a life cycle assessment. A life cycle assessment is an assessment of what it took to make and use a product and what happens at the end of the product's life. So it is a way of thinking about the entire life of a product. There is more and more talk these days of the circular economy, and to really be participating in the circular economy, we must be thinking in terms of the entire life cycle of the product. So what is a life cycle assessment? And a life cycle assessment that is compliant with the standards of the International Standard Organization's general principles on this theme, which is their 14,000 series. A life cycle assessment is going to track 1,300 different chemicals that might be produced from the extraction of the raw materials, might be used in the extraction of the raw materials, might be used in the processing of those materials, in the manufacturing of a product with that processed material, and might result from transporting that product, or might result from the use of that product, and might enter the environment as the product is reused over time or recycled. And the question is, what happens finally? What happens finally? Does that product return to the earth as good, clean dirt that can be used to grow another tree, for instance, or does it result in harmful toxins, polluting the earth finally? And that is what we need to be thinking about as we are specifying any product. It is complicated to actually do a life cycle assessment. It is not complicated to ask these simple questions. What wood is good? What leather is better? What fabric is fantastic? What finish is fine? And what foam would be best for the home? Those are the simple questions to ask, and you will, when you ask them, you will be participating in this process of thinking of the entire life cycle of a product. Durability is important. So whatever choices you make, if the product lasts a very long time, the impact of making that product will be spread out over a very long time, and so will be lessened. So with this, y'all, I want to answer your questions. So please send in your questions in the question box on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will get to them. And I see that there are a lot of good questions already. Okay. First question is about Sustainable Furnishings Council membership. And it is, do you have to be an established company to join, or can you join as an individual who is just getting started? Maddie, I'm going to let you answer this as well for IDS, but for Sustainable Furnishings Council, a business of one person, a sole proprietorship, is most welcome into membership. And we don't have what we call individual memberships, but we do have that Green Leaders education for individuals, and that is a very good way for a person just getting started in a design business to learn more of the kinds of things that we have been talking about. So you are most welcome to join as a sole proprietor business, and you are most welcome to take green leaders. How is it with IDS, Maddie?
So very similar. So we do have industry partner levels, and all you need is a business license or a tax ID. So you do have to be an established business, but you can be a one-man show or be a much larger business. So we have several levels to fit your business size.
Great, great. There's a question about, is this recorded? And the answer is yes. And the recording will be on our YouTube in a few days. Next question. I have a local furniture maker that I sometimes use that makes tables out of very old pre-Civil War lumber. Because this lumber is so old, taken from old buildings that are being demolished, are these considered sustainable? Yes, yes. Carbon is sequestered in wood. A growing tree uses CO2, carbon dioxide, as the building block. You might remember carbon dioxide is a building block of life. So the tree has been built, life on our planet is carbon based. There is a lot of carbon in that tree. And when that wood is used forever, used for a few hundred years in a building, then used for a few hundred more years in a piece of furniture, that is good news. So yes, using recycled and reclaimed wood is a good practice, and having that as part of your policy is excellent. Just excellent. Next question. When companies use reclaimed wood, how do we know that the wood hasn't been treated with toxic chemicals, for instance, pressure treated lumber? Good question. When they use reclaimed wood, they should be able to tell you. You should be able to learn from whoever is providing the product, the material or the product. They should be able to tell you about how it's been treated. Now, pressure treatment pollutes in several ways, and there are many ways of pressure treating lumber. So you really are going to have to ask your lumber vendor or your product vendor about that particular product. In most cases, the pollution will have occurred long before it is being reused in a design project. In most cases, do watch out for fake reclaimed wood. When you are specifying furniture products, especially, read the description and have a conversation with the salesperson to see whether it is truly reclaimed wood or whether it is a reclaimed wood look that is achieved with a certain finish. And sometimes it's a veneer of a reclaimed wood look. So consider these things. Yeah. Okay, next question is, are there bleach cleanable fabrics and finishes that are environmentally friendly? Well, yes. There are bleach cleanable fabrics and finishes that are more environmentally friendly. As you have been hearing all of this hour, sustainability is complex. There are a range of issues that fall under this wide sustainability umbrella. And bleach itself is a very unenvironmentally friendly material, a cleaning agent. But yes, if you're using a polypropylene, the bleach is going to roll right off it. It's basically a plastic. And I will urge you to consider cleanability in general. I'm going to urge you to consider cleanability in general and work with your clients thinking about whether they really want the children to be able to eat chocolate ice cream on the white sofa, or do they, or would they be okay with insisting that that they don't eat chocolate ice cream on the white sofa, and would they consider a pair of slip covers, for instance, if that kind of cleanability is important to them. Next question. Do you have a list of vendors that you can share? Yes, yes. On sustainablefurnishings.org, you will find a list of, oopsie, where is it? There. I think you can click this link and it's live now. So you get to a list of Sustainable Furnishings Council members that sell products and materials. Sustainablefurnishings.org has a finder on our front page, and you can use that finder for finding products or for finding design services too. So we get on our website half consumers and half industry professionals using the site, and the consumers who come are often looking for design services. But you can filter on that finder for manufacturers, for suppliers of materials, for stores, for design services. How can I locate furniture manufacturers who follow these practices? Go to sustainablefurnishings.org and look at our member list. Each of these 400 or so member companies has made a public and verifiable commitment to sustainability, to transparency, and to continuous improvement. So they will tell you what their products are made of. They will answer your questions. Okay, somebody's asking about a copy of the slides for future reference, and what I've got is a handout that I can give you that you can use. Now, when you take our Green Leaders course, we do give you slides. I'm not going to give you the slides of these, but I do give them to to people who take Green Leaders, and we give a set of slides like this to all our Sustainable Furnishings Council members, and that's part of what you get in the members only section of our website. But I'm happy to send the handout to anybody so that you can refer to it. Okay, I recently received an email about a number of working groups. Yes. I'd like to join the ones on waste and circularity, but the links don't work in the email. I'm sorry about that. Where can I find more information about how to join working groups? The easiest way is to go to our courses and events page and click on the working group that is listed there. Tomorrow, there will be a meeting of the carbon reduction working group. The working groups are our newest benefit of Sustainable Furnishings Council membership. They are a peer-to-peer learning opportunity. We have about 30 people in each working group at this point, and we welcome your participation. It is a member benefit. And the working groups there are 6 of them around 6 different facets of sustainability. So circularity, or that is incorporating circularity, carbon reduction, ensuring social equity, maintaining health and wellness, reducing waste, and managing water. Those are the 6 working groups, and do click on them all. All the meetings are listed on our events page, and you are invited. What are some good weekly publications we can subscribe to learn about sustainability and more about sustainable furniture? you can subscribe to Green Flash. Green Flash is our monthly publication. And Maddie, I think that you can also welcome subscribers to the IDS newsletter. So if you want to come back on and chime in on this, but Green Flash, you can click in the Contact Us page of sustainablefurnishings.org to subscribe to that. How do we subscribe with y'all, Maddie?
So we have a weekly e-newsletter called Hot Topics, and you can subscribe on our website. You just go to interiordesignsociety.org, and there's a button at the very bottom of the page that says subscribe, join our mailing list. So you can do it that way.
Great, great. Thank you. Next question, is there a quick pre-made list of questions to ask wholesalers, manufacturers when asking them for green products? Yes, there is. If you go to sustainablefurnishings.org in the resources section, there is a quick guide, and it is a very useful guide, so do make use of that. Next question, will you contact the Biden administration to further their climate change initiative? Yes. We lobby with the American Sustainable Business Council, and we are working, we've started already working with the transition team. And yes, in the Green Flash last month, we noted that there are so many environmental initiatives that were rolled back by the previous administration, and some of them this administration has been able to act towards reversing immediately, like re-signing the Paris Climate Accords. But some of them are going to take time, and it is going to take vigilance on all our part to support this climate initiative. And so, yes, indeed. And I urge all of you to go to asbcouncil.org and get involved there, because you can do that individually as well as your involvement is being, associated with us at Sustainable Furnishings Council. Thank you for that. It's, as we know, it's so important that we all participate in our democracy. So next question, how does reupholstery fit into the life cycle? It fits right in. Reupholstering a product is extending the life of that product. So it is a great best practice for sustainability to reupholster furnishings, and to do that as a regular part of design projects. Always look around and see whether there are things that the client already owns that can be reused. Okay, how do we access your YouTube? You go to sustainablefurnishings.org, and the widgets are at the bottom of the page, of every page. What do we have for students? We have a 50% discount on Green Leaders, 50% off the regular $300 tuition for students and for educators. Do any big brand furniture retailers provide sustainable furniture options? Yes. Yes, absolutely. And more of them are talking about it on their websites, but it is always worth asking. It is always worth asking. So they do look on the website for a page that maybe it'll be under About Us, and we'll talk about their commitment to sustainability and about their policies around wood, for instance. And Maddie, more about students. Does IDS have a student membership?
We do have a student membership. It's just $40 to join, and you get access to a chapter. And we also have a level for recent graduates. So if you have graduated from college sometime in the past 2 years, you can join for $100.
Okay, great. Now we're at the end of our time, but there are just a couple of more questions here. How do I enter the design award contest? Tell us again, Maddie.
Awesome. So we will have the information posted on our website leading up to February 3rd. So February 3rd is when it opens. You do have to be an IDS member to enter, or you can be a member of Sustainable Furnishings Council to enter the Sustainable Design Award. But you can check out more information. It will be on our website soon at interiordesignsociety.org.
Great, great. And both our organizations welcome you as members. So thank you again so much for your participation with us today. And we do look forward to working with you as you get involved with the work we're both doing and as you specifically get involved with this award. So thank you all very much. And thank you, Maddie.
Thanks, Susan. This is great.
Bye now. And join us again next month. We'll have another webinar a month from today, and you are all invited. Have a good month in the meantime. Bye.